Here's how to grow radishes in 60 seconds. Tip 1, add 1 inch of compost to the area that you're planting your radish seeds and spread it out evenly. Tip 2, create 9 divots per square foot, each 1 centimeter deep. Tip 3, place 3 radish seeds in each of the holes. Tip 4, cover them with 1 centimeter of worm castings for moisture retention. Tip 5, to get the highest germination rate, make sure the area you seeded stays moist at all times for the first 7 days. Tip 6, once they germinate, do not thin them. Allow them to grow in sets of 3 as they'll push each other away rather than strangling one another, tripling your harvest. Tip 7, kick back and relax while they do their thing. Tip 8, harvest sooner rather than later. If you leave them too long, they'll get tough and woody and not nearly be as tasty. Tip 9, start a succession round every 2 to 3 weeks for a supply of fresh radishes all summer. Tip 10, enjoy. Here's how to grow radish.
If you want to grow something that is quick to mature, easy to grow, and absolutely delicious, look no further than the French breakfast radish. This variety is ready after only about 3 weeks from seed to harvest. And it's so good. It's not too mild, it's not too spicy. It's like a perfect in between. If you want to grow something that is quick to mature.
Did you know that radishes are one of the fastest growing vegetables? This makes them perfect for beginners. So you can plant these in spring and harvest them in just 30 days. So we're gonna plant these and come back in 30 days. I'm gonna plant a few in here and see what happens. You wanna plant them about 1/2 inch deep. Now I'm just gonna add a few. So in about 7 days, I should see something start to sprout. In about 30 days, I should be eating radishes in my salad. But we'll see how it goes. Did you know that radishes are one of the fastest growing?
Sometimes what starts.
How to get nice radishes. So radishes actually don't need very fertile soil. They are a great inner plant for something that's a heavy feeder, like your broccoli or your cauliflower. And radishes are really quick, and they don't mind having a partial shade canopy from something that's quite large.
I gave up candy for the new year, hoping.
So when you plant your seeds, I usually make a hole like this, dip up to this part of the finger. I don't know, that might be like, what, 1/2 inch? Drop the seeds in, close it up, try to keep it in a row. I only plant 1 to 2 seeds because I know these radish seeds, they're good. They have good germination rates. I've planted them before. If you're not sure about your seeds, then plant 2 to 3 per hole. The thing is that once you plant your radishes, if you plant 2 or 3, you have to thin them out. If you don't thin them out, you're not going to get roots. You're just going to get greens. Radishes and all other root veggies, they need space to grow. So you want to make sure that, you do weed if you decide to plant more than 1 per hole. And then once you're done with that, in a couple of weeks, you're going to see the growth. You just thin out the ones that look weak and keep the one that looks good. And then, you'll have radishes before you know it. I hope this tip helps. Have a wonderful day.
So one of the things I like to do during the fall is plant radishes. And I like to interplant them with my cabbage and my collard greens. It's really cool because you can take your trowel and kind of go in between everything. Radishes only take about a month to grow. So by the time these plants get big, you'll already have harvested these radishes. I keep my seeds in these little tic-tac looking organizers. This is a French breakfast radish. So we're gonna take our trowel and go about 1 inch down. It gets a little trenched. And I'm just gonna sprinkle them in, just like Tic Tacs. All right, we're just gonna cover it up. All right, make sure you label these so you know what's what, and then we'll get these watered in. This would be a perfect seed to plant with your kids because the plants grow so fast. They'll be so excited when they get to pull their first radish up within like a month. I plan on doing this with a lot of my raised beds, trying to use up as much space as I have because I'm so limited on space. Stay tuned for the results and see what else we're gonna be planting. So one of the things I like to do.
I totally forgot that I had thrown a bunch of radish seeds down on this hillside. So I was so surprised the other day when I was walking by and I saw these little radishes poking up out of the ground. Oh, look how funny that one is. Anyways, I just thought I would share that.
Hey guys, today we're going to be planting our West Coast Seeds radish, our Easter egg blend. So we're going to start off by making a line in our soil. about 1/2 inch deep. Doesn't have to be too deep. We'll grab a handful of seeds. We're gonna plant them in our little row about an inch and a half apart, so the radishes don't overlap each other as they grow. Just like that. We're gonna cover those guys up. Then we're gonna go over with our water. Water all our seeds in. Use our labels so that we don't forget what we've planted there. And you should see your radishes to arrive within about a month. Hey guys, today
This year I am ditching the expensive greenhouse kits and instead going with free takeout containers. Just give it a good wash and add your soil. Pat pat. I'm also using seeds I collected from my own garden last year. I'm so excited. They're so pretty. Poke poke and drop your seeds one at a time. I'm actually going to try to grow these radishes up until harvest in these containers. I heard about this last year and did give it a try, and it worked almost, but it got hot out and they bolted on me, so I'm trying early this year. Don't forget to water, and there's even an air hole. And 4 days later, all of my seeds sprouted. I am so excited. Happy Greenwich gardening!
100% of the time, radishes will attract aphids. This is why they're one of my best friends forever companion plants. I mean, look at this. When you plant these little growers, they attract bugs away from the plants you're trying to grow, like my tomato, bean, bell pepper, small tomatoes, carrots. Once they get pretty aggressive in the radishes, I harvest them and feed them to my quails. And keep these for me. Making radishes and garden beds best friends forever. Oh yeah. And they grow really fast. 100%.
Another shady vegetable that is well underestimated and not grown enough, it's radish. I'm planting 2 varieties today called Chinese large radish and Spanish black radish. Most varieties could be sown throughout the year as they're really easy and quick to grow. They thrive best in shade, and direct exposure to sunlight will slow down their growth. You can direct sow them in ground at 1 inch deep and 1 inch apart, depending on the variety that you're growing, because for example daikon grows really large. It is a really refreshing vegetable due to the high content of water. Another shady vegetable.
Hey.
Come grow easy and quick radishes with us in 10-gallon grow bags. We like to use our seeding square to space our seedlings evenly and optimize the amount of growing space we have. We're going to place 2 seeds per hole and keep the soil nice and moist for the first week until we see seedlings. Be sure to thin any seedlings that you need to and make sure that everything has room to grow. And just like that, in a few weeks, you should have fresh and delicious radishes. Come grow.
Have you ever grown radishes, harvested them, and then taken a bite out of one and it was extra spicy? Well, there's a few reasons why this may happen. Hot weather and insufficient watering can cause a radish to be extra spicy and just not taste like it should. Another reason is that the radish was left in the ground past its peak stage. Unlike carrots, with radishes, when they're left in the ground longer, they will become spicier. Insect pest damage can be another reason for this. So when the little critters are munching on the radish, the skin of the radish will actually release this compound from preventing the bugs from munching on it. And this is useful when the radish is still in the ground, but not so much when we're ready to eat it. So there's a technique you can use to prevent this. When you're sowing your seeds, you only want to sow them a fraction of an inch deep and then lightly cover them with soil. The deeper you plant your seed, the longer it's going to take to mature. And remember, the longer the radish is in the ground, the more of this compound will develop. If you've already harvested your radishes and they're spicy, there's a couple of things you can do to make them less spicy. You can do the peel method, which is simply just to peel off the skin. You can also do the ice water method, and that's just to simply soak them in the fridge in ice water for about an hour, and that should help. Have you ever...
All right, I'm out here in the radish ring of death. I have 10 different kinds of radishes planted here to do a little experiment. Bugs have been eating at them pretty good. One thing I thought was interesting, but they didn't really go after the red arrow. The red arrow seems to be bug resistant and pretty cool looking. Red arrow, beautiful leaves, long radish. The watermelon looks cool inside. Cherry bell, quick and easy, goes to seed fast. Purple beauty, I think that's one of my favorites. She's a beauty. And the white icicle. After a quick taste test, the red arrow also won the taste test, so pretty cool. Follow to see the other 5. All right, I'm out here in the red.
Everything you need to know to grow radishes in less than 60 seconds. Plant them in spring or fall. They need at least 6 hours of full sunlight a day. The ideal temperatures for growing radish are between 16 to 18 degrees Celsius and 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. It's best to plant radish directly in the ground and are great companions for carrots. Radishes tolerate almost any kind of soil, though they'll grow best in soils without heavy clay. They can grow up to 20 centimeters or 8 inches tall and can be planted quite dense at 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch apart. Water them 5 to 7 times per week, up to 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch of water. Increase watering if it's hot enough to dry out the soil daily. You should be able to pick and enjoy your radishes anywhere from 28 days after you plant them. Save this for when you're in the garden or come join others in the Thriving with Nature community where you can access the entire plant, insect and disease database amongst many other benefits to grow your own food. Happy thriving! Everything you need.
So this is my first year growing these French breakfast radishes, and they are an heirloom type of radish, so they're true to seed, they're not a hybrid. And I'm gonna seed save off of them. I really like them. I like the idea of them because like it's kind of interesting fun fact, but root vegetables, especially the harder ones like turnips, they are the most dangerous vegetable, like turnips and rutabagas, because people are always trying to cut them and accidentally slipping and cutting themselves instead because they're difficult to cut. Carrots would be another one. I think radishes could be included in that group too, the traditional round ones, particularly because I have cut myself. But these, they seem safer, you know, so I really like them. So this is my first.
You have old seeds you're thinking about using? Give this a watch. These were planted with seeds from this year and they're looking great. And this from 2017. This year, 2017. You have old seeds you're thinking about using?
Here's why I believe you should let at least some of your radishes bolt and start going to seed. If you let your radishes do their thing, they will start to produce hundreds of these lovely little radish pods. These are great for adding to salads, you can use them in a stir fry, and you can even pickle them. It's worth noting that you should harvest these very quickly as they can start to get quite woody and tough. A sign that they're no longer edible can be that they feel a bit hollow when you squeeze them. Here's one that's gone a bit tough, and here's one that's still edible. From only 4 radish plants, I got all of these radish pods, and this wasn't even all of it. Probably got double this much in total. And if you weren't already convinced, then the bonus is that the bees absolutely love these flowers. Here's why.
Here are some radishes that we sowed 6 days ago. And depending on variety, they mature between 21 to 35 days. They are a fast maturing crop. I usually thin them out about 1 to 2 inches apart depending on the variety. When you thin them out, do not pull. You can pinch them off or take a pair of scissors and snip them. I usually leave.
So here's one of the things about radishes. So radishes are similar to carrots in the sense that they need really loose soil to be able to push out into the soil. If the soil is blocked or if it's really hard, it will have a hard time growing. So I have failed with radishes many times, and that is part of being a gardener and learning from your mistakes. So the other thing I would say is to also make sure that you're thinning out. So when I planted this row of radishes, I planted about every 2 inches, and I dropped anywhere from 2 to 3 seeds because of course you're not always sure if every single seed is going to germinate. So if you look back at some other videos, you'll see that I did a thinning out video. So once all of those started to sprout and those little sprouts were about 1.5 inches high, I went through and I reluctantly cut off every single one that I didn't need. So in every little spot that there were more than one, I cut it so there was only one that was germinating and continuing to grow, because if not, and they're too concentrated, they're going to fight for resources and then they may not develop your radish at all. So that was what I did in order to ensure that every 2 inches I only had one radish instead of 2 to 3 in the event that those seeds did over germinate. So I hope that that helps, and maybe you can try again, and next time I hope you're more successful. But don't be discouraged, because this is my first successful season and I've been gardening for almost 5 years. So it will happen eventually. I promise you that. So here's one of the things about